Hello again and welcome to On Tour. It's the cricket program where we look back at the West Indies tour of New Zealand. It's day 2, of course, that we're going to review today in that second test, of course, being played at Wellington at the Base Reserve. I'm Barry Wilkinson. Unfortunately, the news continues not to be good on the West Indies, of course, tour of New Zealand. Having lost so convincingly in those T20s, and the first test went disastrously. This second one is following the same script. Let's have a look at the scores then, how things finished on day 2. New Zealand 460 with Henry Nichols 174 and Neil Wagner. The tail didn't wag at all because he swiped his way to 66. But the bad thing for the West Indies is that they're again in a lot of trouble. Very poor batting, 124 for 8. The Lone Ranger standing, as you look there, is Jermaine Blackman, who made 69. So not looking very good for the West Indies, I'm afraid. They're behind, and I am sure that if the Kiwis this morning bowl them out, no doubt they will follow on. With me, of course, is Tino Best, and we've got a new man today. We've got a new lead correspondent on the spot, is our man, Johnny Barron. Hello to you, Johnny. Good to see you.
Good morning, gentlemen, or good evening, I should say.
Yes, good evening. Well, where you are, we will understand why you will say good morning. Well, look, let's get straight into it. Tino, brief answer. West Indies way behind. What went wrong on day 2?
Just no discipline with their batting. Very disappointing. And getting out the same way, not leaving balls. The discipline wasn't there at all. And 124 for 8. And I felt that what was worrying for West Indies is the way they finished the innings of New Zealand. And I think that they didn't take any energy whatsoever in their batting, and they're struggling at 124 for 8.
Johnny, as you look at how things have gone, going in now to day 3, in your opinion, what was the bugbear for the West Indies going in to day 2?
Well, I think one of the problems for the West Indies is in their recent form away from home is they've struggled, to be honest. If you look at the last 4 tests that they've played, they've conceded somewhere between 360 and 500 in each of the first innings that they've conceded away from home. And those are the 2 tests in England at Old Trafford, and now the 2 tests here in New Zealand. And the problem for Jason Holder is he's winning the toss, he's getting the choice of what to do. But the problem is this consistent fashion of putting the opposition in is just not playing dividends for him.
Yeah, very well said. Let's break the day down then. Of course, the West Indies having the Kiwis, they were 5 down overnight. They were looking to get some early wickets. They did get that. But then it was Henry Nichols that they had to negotiate. He batted so well. We look at how he moved on. We say, yes, he had a lot of drop chances, but they don't go in the book. You have to say that Henry Nichols, Tino, showed his class, showed his abilities. He smashed his way to 174.
Yeah, top notch and career best as well. And I thought this morning he batted a lot better. The way that he negotiated the bunks and the seam of the pitch and his shot selection was impeccable. It was wonderful to watch.
Yeah, thanks, Tino. Your thoughts, Johnny? How good, in your opinion, is this batsman, Henry Nichols?
Yeah, Henry Nichols, I think, is a really, really good player. I think it was his 6th Test century yesterday, and batted absolutely beautifully. Left the ball well throughout. He weathered the storms created by the likes of Alzari Joseph and also Shannon Gabriel, and just batted superbly. And again, New Zealand just are very watchful in these conditions. They know how to bat. They just don't lose at home, and they certainly don't look as if they're losing here.
I don't want to discredit Neil Wagner any, but he did come out. He did hit some big sixes. He did play some really nice shots, but to me, it just looked like if he came out with a plan to swipe. And he did it successfully, got a whirlwind 66. But that is what frustrated the West Indies. Your thoughts on Neil Wagner? Does he have it in him to be someday become an all-rounder, or was it just a fluke of an innings?
A fluke. I'm not getting carried away. The West Indies bowled poorly at Neil Wagner. Neil Wagner is an aggressive fast bowler who he knows he's going to get short balls whenever time he comes out to bat.
Right.
What we did in New Zealand when we played against him 7 years ago, it just run up and bowl line the length and nick him off. I think he got 2 knocks against us. So West Indies bowlers, they don't show any discipline whatsoever. They try to give Neil Wagner a bit of his own medicine, and I can tell you, he took it well, and he smashed the bowling all over the park. It was embarrassing to watch, Barry.
Oh yeah, Johnny. I mean, Wagner 66. That partnership he had like 78. He dominated. I mean, Theo Wagner dominated a partnership with a man who was 150 plus. Is he that good, or was it just one of those one-off cases, in your opinion?
I mean, he's a dangerous customer at the tail end of the innings, no question, Wagner. And especially he gets people's goats up, doesn't he, when he's got the ball in hand, because he tends to bowl short at everybody, and everybody wants to get their revenge. And as Tino mentioned, it played into his hands. I thought he batted absolutely superbly. And again, it's just another thorn in the side of the West Indies.
Now, Alzarri Joseph, a quick word on him, 3 for 109. Did he improve his line and length on day 2?
Yeah, I thought he bowled better. The ball he got Jameson out was beautiful. I would like him to concentrate and just back himself. Roddy Esfit needs to get into this young man's mind, keep working on his action, and just continue to help him to believe in himself. And I think he's going to be good. I think he's getting better as time progresses. But I got a lot of faith in him. I do believe that he's a good cricketer, and I just think that he can go well and go beyond and play 50, 60 test matches. I think he has it in him.
Yeah, the thing I like about Alzarri Joseph is that he loves the game of cricket and he wants to improve. He's that kind of young man, so he can only get better. All right, you're watching On Tour. When we come back, the West Indies, don't turn off the TV, don't change the channel, just bear with it. We're going to watch West Indies innings when we come back.
Are you ready? Windies in the land, just put up your hands. It's time to jump up, people, are you ready?
So welcome back then to On Tour, the New Zealand team, 460, a lot of runs. The West Indies, they had all day, all week to just bat and bat. That was not to be. The Windies, they started off disastrously. Tino, we continue to see Craig Brathwaite, his technique found wanting, and his edge got nicked off quite early. But what's going wrong with Craig Brathwaite?
Barry, I lost the worst. Honestly, I don't know what to say anymore. I don't know what a batting coach is doing down there, to be honest. We are getting out, the West Indies is getting out the same way all the time, nicked off. How are they practicing? What are they doing? Craig Brathwaite needs to come to the ball. Shamar Brooks need to come to the ball, so forth. The only person that stands up and really shows their worth is Blackwood.
Yeah. You know, you look at Darren Bravo. To me, he is a big concern. Bring in Johnny Bravo on this one because I know Johnny Barry, correction. Johnny, I know you are a big fan of Darren Bravo, but he got a lot of runs in the pre-warm-up games, but he's just not being able to turn that form in the test. He's really struggling. What do you think is the problem with Darren Bravo?
I mean, it's easy to talk about mitigating circumstances. I do think, playing New Zealand in home conditions, it's tough, but this is what international cricket is all about. He's just not good. The key is weathering the storm, and that's what West Indies weren't doing at the top of the order. Yeah. And when you've got the likes of Jameson and also Southey, who's a really experienced bowler now in those kind of conditions, you've got to get a start. Otherwise, you're going to get found out, unfortunately.
You know, you had poor Shamar Brooks there on the sideline shivering. I couldn't believe what was going on. He was nervous. And the hat-trick ball, I mean, it was negated in the end. But how well has this man, Jameson, come on and bowl for the Kiwis? A 5-wicket haul. He's tall, he's direct, and he gets the ball to swing. Jameson, as a bowler, has demonstrated that New Zealand have found another fast bowler in their army, like if they needed another one, that could definitely take over again. I mean, Bolt is not even playing this test.
Well, Bolt is playing.
Yeah.
And what I can tell you is that
when I say Bolt is not playing, he's not
getting wickets. Yeah, true. Now, to be fair, they're playing home. The wickets go to favor a tall bowler. He has a nice action. He gets the ball to bounce. Remind me a lot of Steve Harmison. Steve Harmison was like 15 Ks faster though. But look, they're at home, and New Zealand is one of those teams that bully you in New Zealand. No matter if you're in India, Australia, Pakistan, they dominate you in their backyard. Let me see Jameson on some flat wickets, and then I can give him his papers. But really and truly, anyone can bowl line and length, get the ball to carry through if they grow up or if they're homegrown on those type of surfaces. And I think he's exploited them beautifully. I think that at the end of the day, when you're playing home, you got to dominate teams. And he bowled well, and congratulations on his FIFA. He's bowling beautifully.
Is Tino being a bit harsh on Jameson? Isn't he a bit better than what perhaps Tino might be trying to intimate?
Look, I think Tino's making an excellent point. I mean, Jameson is one of those classic bowlers who will be very, very effective in home conditions. He's tall, he hits a length, but he's not express pace, as Tino mentioned, like the likes of Armisen. But he's got 18 wickets now in 4 tests. And the test of time will stand whether he produces these kind of performances away from home. But at home, he's very, very effective. Johnny,
are you concerned about the form, batting and bowling, of the captain, Jason Holder? Because he came into this test series with some good IPL form, but he has not replicated that, especially with the bat, which people are very concerned about, because they perhaps felt sometimes that Jason Holder is a better batsman than he is a bowler, but he has not looked good with the bat at all.
Yeah, Jason Holder is talismanic, I should say, for the West Indies. And you often find when he produces with either one discipline or another, you feel the West Indies as a team will follow. You only have to look at his performances against England when England toured over in the West Indies back in 2019. And to be honest, if he doesn't fire, it does put a lot of pressure on the rest of the bowlers, and of course on that middle order, which often, there's a lot of pressure on that West Indies middle order. Especially if the frontline guys are not getting a start. And Jason's form, it's safe to say, is worrying, and he's not the ICC #1 all-rounder in the world anymore.
No, that's true. What's going wrong with Jason Holder's batting, Tino Best?
You got to ask the West Indies batting coach. Look, from a fan point of view, I just think Jason's not giving himself time to get in. And, coming from playing 2020 to play Test cricket is kind of a challenging at times. But
not for Kay Williamson.
Well, you can't. Different
kettle of fish.
Different kettle of fish. Look, Jason just got to continue to believe in himself. Not only believe in himself, but give the team that confidence. As Johnny said rightfully, he gives the team that impetus to believe in himself. He got to be a leader. He got to grab the game by the scruff of his neck and lead. If not with the ball, he bowled poorly. Even though he went out with 2 runs and over, he was not effective, Barry. And this is something that he has to just find a way. You've got to find a way at international cricket to get performances in. And I just don't know what the batting coach of the West Indies so who is the West Indies batting coach?
It's a gentleman named Monty from India.
Okay.
He missed actually the last tour of England, but he's there now and has a lot of work to do, I can tell you. Well, the man of the moment at tea was none other than Kylie Jameson, and he caught up with the reporters to have a quick chat about how well he was bowling.
Kylie Jameson, Test cricket, you just keep finding ways to bowl these magical deliveries.
Oh yeah, I suppose, it's pretty fortunate that it went as big as it did, and it's probably hard trying to line it up when it's going that big, so I guess lucky that we got those 2 there.
And outstanding session, what more after the break?
I guess more of the same. I suppose getting 4 in that little window was great, and then if we just can, I guess, get a couple more, that'd be happy days.
Well done, Kylie Jameson. When we come back, we're going to look at the Lone Ranger for the West Indies these days, Jermaine Blackwood. When we come back on Tour.
People, are you ready? Windies in the land of put up your the top is time to jump up. People, are you ready? Windies in the land of put
Welcome back to On Tour then. We're going to join the live action in just a moment. The West Indies will resume on 124 for 8 in response to New Zealand's 460. Live action will resume at the Basin Reserve in just a moment. Well, we're going to look now at someone who I consider to be the fearless man right now in West Indies cricket. The West Indies went down in the last test. He scored 100. Wickets were falling around him. He came in, negated the hat-trick ball, had 2. He got away with 2 LBW appeals, and he smashed his way to 69, including 11 fours. Jermaine Blackwood has just been perhaps the only thing the West Indies batsmen and the West Indies team have had to smile about. Has he now finally turned the corner with his consistency? Because that has been a big problem for Jermaine Blackwood.
Yeah, I rate Jermaine Blackwood 100 and I rate him with his 69. Why I rate him? Because of the surfaces and the type of bowlers he's up against. And to back yourself and play your shots in these conditions and not get caught on the crease and get out like a schoolboy, he's done well. And you've got to give him credit. And I think that at the end of the day, Blackwood is one of those guys that wears hard on his sleeve. I remember I had a conversation with him in the CPL, and I said to him, look, back yourself, don't matter what. Keep backing yourself, young man. And he went out there and he played some exquisite shots. It was a wonderful 69. And look, if you had a situation that the openers had a good start, and you don't have Blackwood coming in a pressure situation 4 or 5 down, he can score some of the quickest hundreds because he is that type of player, Barry. But he comes in and he has to really show his class, and he's doing well. And I hope that he can score 100 in his second innings or even a double.
When you look at the style of Jermaine Blackwood, Johnny Barron, are you surprised that he has not featured in T20s and even 50-over cricket for the West Indies with that same kind of success? He's been a bit dominant in the Test cricket arena, but he has not really been a big ODI player for the West Indies, and his style suits ODI cricket. Why do you think he hasn't been able to create that balance?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I mean, I think as his performances develop, especially in these kind of conditions, if you're scoring 69 with 11 fours off 92 balls in very, very difficult conditions against an excellent attack, that'll only give him confidence. And you feel if you're going to start performing, with your whites on, there's every opportunity that these kind of performances will turn into coloured clothing games for him. You really feel that when the pyjamas come out and when they're playing ODI and T20 cricket, there's every chance that these scores will develop in those formats.
Yeah, we spoke about the surface earlier. We spoke about how the ball has begun to swing a little bit. Tino, this pitch at the Base Reserve, would you credit this pitch as perhaps one of the most balanced pitches in New Zealand?
Yeah, absolutely. As I said yesterday, I think the carry in the bunks is really consistent. And you just got to back yourself. You got to watch the ball on. You got to get on the front foot, and you got to leave some balls. And at the end of the day, I thought the curator created a wonderful playing surface. I thought it was a fair playing surface. The ball was bouncing, it was carrying, and the slip catches as well were carrying as well. So that's a good sign.
What is your hope for West Indies going into the third day, which is going to start in just a moment? And what do you reckon that the Kiwis will be looking to do on day 3 as well, Johnny Barron?
I think the West Indies have to stop this formula of New Zealand, which is batting big and then rolling oppositions. They've done it consistently. They've competed in 13 series at home. They've only lost twice now, New Zealand, across the last 5 years. They're very, very difficult to really beat in home conditions. And what I think the West Indies have to do is make life as tough as possible for New Zealand. They have to grind out as many runs. You expect they're going to get asked to follow on, and if that does happen, then West Indies are going to have to show some real mettle to drag this game a little further.
Is that going to happen, Tino? Is this going to be another short Test match? What is your hope for West Indies going into day 3 now?
Well, I hope it's not, Barry. That's the honest truth as a fan. I hope that even if we get ball out this morning, I just think that the batsmen, the openers, I would like to see John Campbell show some fight, some proper shot selection from him and Craig Braffy. Try to get some partnerships going, batting 10s, blocks of 10s, try to get 10-run partnerships between each other going in terms of every 10 runs we start again and again, and try to get a foundation. This is the last innings of the tour, and at the end of the day, West Indies selectors got to make some tough decisions in terms of moving forward with our test team.
Yeah, that's right. And we're not sure what's going to happen next year yet in terms of who will the West Indies be playing against in January and February. We're hearing that they might be going to Sri Lanka. They're supposed to be going to Bangladesh as well. But, if they continue to lose in this fashion, they continue to lose fans. And before we go on that note, Tino, how frustrated must West Indies fans be at this stage with the performances in New Zealand, losing the T20s and now losing the Tests as frequently as they have been? How frustrated are the fans?
I think the fans are frustrated. You're frustrated, Barry. I'm frustrated. I just think that, it's all about picking the right teams, Barry. And I just hope that guys can come back to first-class cricket and perform well and score proper runs. And I think work on the technique. I think that the talent is there. It's no doubt whatsoever that West Indies have more talent than most teams. But do they work as hard as other teams? And I think that's very important when you get to that level. We need to structure our cricket properly in terms of guys practicing and training properly. And I just think that fans shouldn't give up yet. I can't give up on the boys. I love the boys so bad. I just want them to do well, and I hope that they will continue to keep fighting. They've got to fight.
Final question, Johnny Barron. England lost for decades. Did they lose a lot of fan base and fan support when they were losing for so many years?
Yeah, I mean, the 90s, the 80s, they were fairly catastrophic, it's safe to say, for England. I mean, I think in England, actually, we've always quite enjoyed being the underdog. And actually, when we're at the top of the pile, we sit there very uneasily, not that we are in Test cricket. But I think as far as West Indies cricket is concerned, you've got to keep the faith. The bowling, don't lose any sleep over the bowling. That's absolutely fine, and there's plenty of resources. But runs on the board. Jason Holder just cannot trust his top six. And you see that with the decisions he makes at the toss, match in, match out.
Thank you so much, Johnny Barron. Thank you so much, Tino Best. So then, the West Indies will resume 124 for 8 in response to the Kiwis' 460. You're watching On Tour. We'll take a break. When we come back, live action from Wellington. Until tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Windies in the land of put up your